Hello and welcome. Today's video is going to be about fingerprint modules again. This one's going to be about the R503, how I made firmware for it or whatever, so you don't need to load two sketches. It's an all-in-one. You'll have an admin finger and stuff like that. But from last week, I'd shown you this guy here, and that was just one of these fingerprint padlocks, how you can take out the insides and add a relay to it. So I'm just going to touch on that just in case anybody's curious how to add it to a computer like I had suggested. So what you want to do is add two wires, a male and a female, to these two pins here. So last week I built somebody a computer, so I'm just going to show some raw video of me adding it to it. What you'll want to do is find the manual on your motherboard and find the two pins if you're not into computers, or just simply follow the two wires coming from the power button. Now the most important thing is your computer has to hold power when it shuts off on the USB port. So what you can do is plug in a phone to your computer and turn off your computer and see if your phone is still charging. Now, what's even more important is you have to actually hit the power switch on the back of your computer and permanently turn off the power, then turn it back on. If your phone comes back to life instantly, but your computer doesn't come on, that means you can use a fingerprint module to it. One of my motherboards actually does it, but the one in the video I show actually doesn't have that option. If you flick off the power on the back of the power supply, it'll just stay off. Also in the BIOS, you have to turn off restart on power loss and stuff like that, because all somebody would have to do is shut off your computer and turn it back on, and it would bypass the fingerprint module part of it. So here's an example in the manual. Those are the two pins you would want to actually attach, in this case, a yellow and blue wire to. So I'm just going to show this video now. Alright, so I got the fingerprint module here now onto the real computer. The connections are down here, so it's going to be kind of hard to see, and it's kind of pointless. I'm going to see if I can do it with one hand. So what I'm going to do is take off those two pins. So I'm not sure if you can see that. That's the power switch there. So again, it doesn't matter which colors you add. This is going to be hard because I did all this before I put the video card in. Let's see. I'm trying to do it with one hand. Alright, so I got my wires hooked into there now. So again, you can always just splice into those as well, and just cut the wire if you want to, coming from the power switch. It's up to you how you do it. So here's the first test with it. So now, if I try the wrong finger on this, it doesn't work. The right finger. Okay. Alright, so one more time. Wrong finger. Wrong finger. Right finger. Alright guys, so that's how you add the fingerprint module to the PC. So now on to the next one. Alright, to continue on with this video, it's going to be about the R503. Again, I'm going to make this so you don't need to know how to solder. You can just simply buy the cables, buy the R503, the relay, and a nodemcu. I prefer the nodemcu because it comes with a Wi-Fi chip, and if you want to do anything later in life with this board, you got Wi-Fi at least. So for 50 cents more, it's not that much. Okay, so and then next week I'm going to be jumping on these guys here probably. You can rip these apart. I got these on Amazon. Where are they here? These guys here for 10 bucks. And it comes with a module in here that actually costs about $26. And this little module here can be directly connected to the nodemcu, or you can do the same hack as I did with the padlock and just simply add a relay. So that's a whole entire different video. So with this guy here, like I said, I made it so it's no solder. And I also made it so you don't have to learn how to program. You do have to upload the code, but I'll include that all in my package, and I'll explain how to do all that in the steps after this. So I'm going to show you what I've done to the firmware. So like I said, somebody just needs to buy these three things in the wires and they can start going controlling things with the relay without learning how to program. So I made it so there's an admin finger, and I'm going to show you the process of that so you don't have to watch the whole video. You can just download my package and upload the sketch to the Arduino. So I'm just going to plug this guy in. When you plug it in for the very first time, it should blink red a couple of times, and it's going to go to a fast purple. So this cable doesn't have to be plugged into a computer or nothing. It can be plugged into a power brick or a 5-volt adapter or whatever. Alright, so once it's blinking purple like this is telling you that there's no registered users. So the very first finger you pick on it is going to become your admin finger. Your admin finger is going to let you add new users and delete all the users. Right, so what you'll want to do is put your finger on it and hold it on it until it turns blue. It'll start flashing blue. This tells you to lift off your finger. And once it starts flashing this purple again, then place the finger back on it again. And once it turns blue, you can lift it off. If it's going to breathe blue twice, once it's done, now you can test it out. Okay, see if we can get that relay light in there. Okay, so now this is your admin, so if I try another finger, it's not going to work. Now if you want to add a friend or whatever, just hold your finger down for about 10 seconds. It'll flash about 8 times and then turn purple. So watch the light for when it turns purple. That tells you to lift your finger up. And now it's going to quickly do that again, just like at the start. So it's the same process. Now pick a new finger. I'll go with my pinky. Hold it there till it starts flashing blue. Lift it off. Once it turns purple or flashes purple, put your finger down, the same one again, and lift it off. Okay, so now I got this finger and this finger registered. This is my admin and this is my user. Okay, I have to kind of fix the code because if the admin, or I mean if the user holds his finger down, it'll keep clicking the relay off and on. So you might want to add a delay to it, but they can't get into adding users or nothing like that. I might change the code so the admin finger can't trigger the relay. So you might want to use a pinky on your left hand or something as an admin finger. I'm not sure about that, or anybody can change the code if they want to. All right, say you want to delete all the users now. Hold your admin finger down for about 20 seconds. So it's going to blink about 8 times blue. It's going to go purple, but keep holding your finger down. Okay, turn purple, so keep holding it. Once it goes red, take your finger off. So give it a couple of seconds and it's going to start blinking red really quickly. This is telling you that all the users are deleted and it's going to reboot the system. Okay, once it's rebooted, now you can unplug the Arduino if you want, or you can add a new finger. So now if I just unplug it, plug it back in, it's going to do its 2 blinking, and it's going to tell you that there's no users. So just pick a new finger or the same finger as an admin finger. So this time I'll pick this finger as my admin. Blinking blue, blinking purple again. Place it down, take it off. Okay, so that's my admin finger now. And there you go, it's working. So again, if you want a project with a fingerprint and you don't like soldering or you don't know how to solder, I'm going to show you the steps right after this, how to do all this with the new unit and how to twist the wires together and where they go, how to upload the code and all that stuff. Besides that, the file's in the description if you just want to stop now. And yeah, so I'll get on to that. Okay, so this is going to be the section where we're going to wire up the 503 to the nodemcu. You have to get some cables like this if you're not going to solder, because this is what this video is going to be about, is not soldering and stuff. So these cables here, usually about $4 or $5 maybe, and they come with 120 of them, and male and male, female and female, and male and female. These are the cables we're going to use the most, is the male and the female in this video. So you could actually just get a set of these and just cut them. But anyways, the very first step we're going to do is program the nodemcu. It's going to be kind of the hardest step here if you're not into like programming and stuff like that. But I'm going to walk you through it. Just do it with me. I'm in a virtual machine, so I know everything's going to work. This way, my other system's not going to have stuff installed that you're not going to have installed. So we'll plug this guy in eventually. Right, like I said, I'm in a virtual machine, so you won't get something like this. So I'm just going to connect to it. Go to my description and download the package. Here it says it's 50 megs, but it's really not, because I tried making it so you didn't have to do any extra steps, but it just didn't work because some of the stuff gets saved in app data. So anyways, download the package, right click on it, and say extract all. Once that's done, go into the new folder it created, and go to step 1. If you have the CH341 drivers, or the chip on the nodemcu right here, you're going to need to install these drivers or it won't get detected. So I'm just going to say you're most likely are going to have those drivers, so you can install it anyways. So double click on setup, and then click on install. Okay, once it's done, back out of this folder, and this time go into the Arduino 182 folder, but maybe first actually go into this boards.txt. Either Control A or just drag your mouse over all of this, right click on it and say copy, and then you can close this down. Double click on the Arduino 182, then click on the Arduino.exe. So like I said, the steps I'm going to show right now are going to be the most complicated steps in this. The wiring is actually pretty straightforward. So here you can just say no. Okay, go to File, go to Preferences, and here where it says Additional Boards Manager URLs, click once on there, and then push your Control V. So hold down the control button on your keyboard and then push V. I'm in a virtual, so it's going to take a couple of seconds to register. So once basically, I don't think you can right click here. That's why you have to do the Control V. Or you'll have to type this all out. Either way. After that's done, say OK. Next, go to Tools, Boards, Board Manager. Under the search here, type 8266. Click once here, and then just install 2.7.4 is good enough. Then close this. Most likely in yours, it won't automatically load this fingerprint thing. So what you'll have to do is go to File, go to Open. This is where it most likely end up in documents for you. But make your way to the folder where you extracted the files. My package. I included the Adafruit fingerprint. These are the original ones where I based my firmware off of. But for this video, go into fingerprint.aio. And in here, then double click on this guy. Now it's loaded. Go to Tools, Port, And if you only have one COM1, most likely it's not being detected for some reason. But if you don't know what COM port your nodemcu is on, just unplug the nodemcu, go back to tools, go to COM port, and then you should only have, it should say only COM1. Then click out of it, plug the nodemcu back in again, go back to your port, and then you should have a new one. So mine will be COM3. I'm not really going to go after any of this or over any of this stuff here. The only thing I'll touch on is this ESP8266. The only reason why I had to add this is because I have to turn off the Wi-Fi. But again, the reason why I chose the nodemcu is because you have the option of using Wi-Fi later for any other project if you want to. Also, the ports here, I'll explain all this when I'm doing the wiring. All right, so now go back to tools, go to your boards, and you'll want to pick the nodemcu ESP12E module. Once that's loaded up, now you're basically done everything, and you just have to push the upload button. Now the first time you do it, it's going to take a while because it has to compile it all up. After that, it'll go really quickly if you just make simple changes. Alright, once it says done uploading, you're basically done. So now if you just want to quickly test it, just to make sure it's working, sort of, go to Tools and go to Serial Monitor. And then change the baud rate to 9600 baud if it's not on there. So here it's telling you the board is working and it didn't find the fingerprint. So if you don't get anything here, the button on the nodemcu, you can push it one time. I can push it and it'll reset it. And then you might get the text spit out this time. If you don't see anything here at all and your baud is at 9600 baud, you're going to have to hit me up in the comments because you have other issues then. Alright, so now you can close this down and you can unplug the nodemcu because we're done with it for now. Alright, so we can put the nodemcu to the side for now, and same with the relay. What we're after now is the R503 and the wiring connections. I'm not sure if I have to rip this one open. Okay, so the wires we're after, on this cable at least, if yours looks like this, yours might actually come with ends already on like this. So you're going to have to look at the data sheet, or again, hit me up in the comments and I can try to help you out. But most of them do come with an end like this, so it can plug into another board. So the colors we're going to be after here is the red, the black, the yellow, and green. So you have some options here, what you want to do. So the best thing to do now too is confirm you have the right wire. So here's the data, or here's the pinout for it here. Just make sure you hold your connector the same way and the color codes are the same. Now for any reason, if the company maybe put them backwards or something like that, or use different colors, which most likely you won't run across, just make yourself a quick cheat sheet. So I'll just explain these pins in case you got the cables backwards. Let's say the manufacturer put these backwards or something, or you have different color codes. In all my videos, I always show when I do my drawings with the pins up. So you'll see the silver here and these little grippy guys here. And if you turn it around, it should be blank. So just make a quick drawing. It doesn't have to be pretty. So you can just use this for your reference. So the first one is just mark down the color of it. So red, black, yellow, green, blue, white. So yours might be different colors. So the first one is red, for me at least, and that would be your 3.3 volts. Black is your ground. Yellow is TX, and green is RX. And in your blue and white, which we don't use these in here, but you can just write them down anyways. So this would be wake up, and this would be, well, the touch. But again, we're not using these. So okay, back to this. So in this video, what I'm going to end up doing is cutting these off and just attaching my own ends to them. Alternatively, you can get yourself a kit like this and one of these guys, and you can just crimp on your new ends. So we can get these 4 wires out of the way. So we're going to cut the 4. Now I forgot to mention that you're going to need some heat shrink, or you can just use electrical tape. I'm also lazy, I'm just going to use a lighter. Preferably, like always, you'd want to twist and solder. But again, if you can't solder, you can just twist them. And then tape them up. Just use wire strippers or something. I've just used a lighter basically all my life for little wires like this. Okay, so we'll want to find some matching colors. It's not important, but it'll help you figure it out. Okay. And we'll want female ends on all these ones here. So cut them about the same length on all of them. Gonna cut some heat shrink. And just match them up with the right colors. Or if you use different colors, just make a chart of what you did so you know what's what. So again, just use electrical tape if you don't have heat shrink. Now in your project, because I'm just working on a table or on a bench here, you'll want to run these wires way longer than this. So you'll probably want to find something to go in between these colors. You'll most likely want the relay on the other side of the wall or inside a unit or wherever. So this way people can't get access to the relay and just flip it themselves. Okay, so these are only the 4 wires we're going to use. These ones here you can just tape up. Actually, what I'm going to do, instead of taping it, I'm just going to cut these ones off. Don't cut them too short in case later on I use them in the project, or you might want to reuse them. So cut them about there. Not sure if I can bend this one. See if the heat shrink will fit all over them. Okay, the reason why I bent the white is so it can't short out with the other wire. Okay, there you go. So that should be good. That shouldn't fall off. Okay, so the next part now is wiring it up to the nodemcu. All right, the wiring of it. So earlier I showed you part of the code I wrote, and I said I would explain it. So right here where it says my serial 54, on the nodemcu, it's actually not 54, so it wouldn't be pin like D4 and D5. So here's a picture of the actual pinouts. So pin, where is it? So D4 would actually be GPO2 and D5 would be GPO14. So what I've done in this video is I've changed it to D1 and D2, because that would be GPO5, GPO4. So make sure you're using this when you're coding. Most likely that's what most people have issues with the nodemcu, is because the pinouts are all messed up according to these and the code. So again, I'm just going to repeat myself. G5 and G4 is actually D1 and D2. So we'll connect those now. So our yellow is our DX, and this one is going to be getting hooked up to D1. So just look on the back here, or your pins might be the other way, but they should be the same as here. Look for D1, and it's right there. So it's the second pin. That one would get it connected like that. So next one is D2, and that's our RX, and that's green, and that would get hooked up to D2. The next pin is our relay. So again, looking at the code, we're using relay pin D14. But again, it's not D14. The real pinout for the nodemcu is actually D5. So here I wrote 14, but if you look at the picture, number 14 is actually D5. Now it's important to pick D5 for the relay, because otherwise if you put it on any other pins, it actually might go high as soon as you plug in your Arduino, or if the Arduino reboots or whatever. So really somebody would just have to short your system, and whatever you locked would become unlocked. So just make sure it's on D5. So look on the back here. D5's right there. Match it up. Oops. Yeah, D5 would be its own cable. Almost messed up there. We're going to use, do I even have a cable? We're going to use orange for D5. And this pin here is going to trigger our relay. The next one here is our ground. So just look for any G on this unit here. And there's a ground right there on the second pin right beside the 3-volt. So we're going to use that pin for our ground. And then your red wire is 3 volts. Make sure you don't hook it up to 5 volts. I've never really tested these with 5 volts, and I don't really want to waste time trying to burn it out just to see if it actually might work or not. So anyways, just make sure you use 3 volts, and it's marked with a 3. That's another reason why we have to use the nodemcu, because you could use a 328, but you'd have to add a resistor to it to bring the voltage down. All right, guys, so that's it for all the wiring for this part, for at least the finger part. So technically we could test it, but we may as well just keep going and hook up the rest. So now we're going to need another red wire and a black wire, but I only got a gray one kicking around. So the gray is going to get hooked up to another ground. So there's one right there, right beside D5. And then we're going to want to find 3 volts or 5 volts. So you can power the relay somewhere else. You just have to make sure the relay shares ground with this. And we're just going to go with a VV here. You could plug it into the 3 volts as well. So it's the 3rd pin. 1, 2, 3. That's if you have a 3-volt relay. These are actually pretty loose on this. If you find them too loose, just give your things a little twist. It's probably because I used this too many times in another project. Okay, so the 3 wires for the relay now. Right, so VCC on this relay here, or any kind of relay you get if it's 3 volts. I might show different styles at the end of the video, but still the same setup. So that gets hooked up to VCC. So that can be 5 volts or 3 volts with this relay. Not sure if that's going to extrude in. Okay. Ground, GND, is your gray wire that I used here. And that's ground that goes to the nodemcu. And our red wire fell off, so I'm going to have to reconnect that. And then our switch wire. So that would get hooked up to CTH. But if it automatically triggers, just remove it and then connect it to this one. So I might have it wrong in this, so I'll just try first here. But it's okay if you have it wrong. Okay, I might have to switch out this red wire. Okay, so that's it for all the connections. So now, because we already uploaded the code and everything should work. If I can get just to, let's see how I can have this. Yeah, maybe like that, I guess. So because it's brand new firmware, what should happen is this thing should blink 4 times red and a bunch of purple. However, if this relay turns on right away, I'm going to have to change that wire around. Okay, it seems to be good. Okay, so we're just going to quickly register a finger. Again, this doesn't have to be plugged into your computer. It can be plugged into a power bank now. It's all on one. It's all on its own. Okay, so I'll see if the relay light kicks on when I touch it. There you go. Well, the admin finger can't do it twice in a row right away. Okay guys, so that's how easy it is to hook this guy up. Just gonna unplug it here. Alright, for my purpose, I'm hooking it up to a garage door opener or a gate opener. So I've already wired it up. My last video, I show how to hook it up as well. And just like the beginning of the video, if you want to hook this up to a computer, just watch the very start of this video again. And I show how to connect the relay to a computer. So this would work on basically any garage door opener that has an external switch, gate opener with an external switch. So when I do my unit, this thing here, the relay is going to be inside the gate opener, this guy here, and then I'll probably find power for the relay inside here as well, and I'll just run power and the TX and the RX for the fingerprint module. That'll be on the other side of my fence. I'm also write code because this gate, I can also make it so the gate only opens like 4 feet or 3 feet just by adding a delay for the relay to come on and then shut off. All right, so I'm just going to plug the node back in again. There you go. Stupid little red wire fell off again. Okay. You might also want to hot glue these wires in place so that doesn't happen to you. So now if everything worked when I touch my finger, this motor should kick on. Okay. Alright guys, now I'll end this video. Alright, so that's about it for the video. How to wire this guy up. Next week or whenever, I should jump on this guy here, hopefully. It's going to take me a while. Other options too, if anybody wants, I can show you how to hook up voice, or I might just make another video adding voice to this instead of having the blinking lights and stuff. I'll have the blinking lights too, but I can have a female voice saying like door unlocked, locked, stuff like that. And other things I can show you is how to hook up 433 megahertz wireless to it as well, so you can use your car remote or open your gate just by the remote or your garage door. So instead of having this relay hooked up, I can hook this up instead, and then I can just send it wirelessly just as if it's like a remote. And yeah, and then same with the smaller ESP. I can show you guys how to wire this up as well to a relay. So anyways, I think I babbled on long enough again. Hopefully this helps somebody out. I keep good tabs on my comments usually, so YouTube probably won't show this to many people for like a couple of years. So if you ever run across and need help, just like I said, hit me up in the comments and I'm more than willing to help. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe please, and that's it.